we're gonna play Among Us. Yeah. It's been so long since I made a video. Oh, yeah, if you're Emmett or Tristan or anybody who's watching this that you know who's my friend, I'll let you see my face. I think it's me again. Hi guys. Hi guys. Yeah. Then shout out to Liam K. He's having a real hard time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already spread. Maybe we could try to slow the spread at this point. Now, because the population was so hard hit and the hospitals were so overwhelmed,
Wait.
the public took it very seriously.
Please be imposter. Aw. You're playing this and you know and you have YouTube behind them.
That did allow
Wait,
people
you can't
to get the virus under
Okay, time to do my
control.
test.
Government and public health experts that backed up.
Dev's following me. I think it's him.
Italy doesn't take it seriously, thinks it's no big deal, won't do much damage, will go away on its own, and it gets completely decimated with the virus so badly that the government says, hey, wait a minute, we're going to shut the whole country down in order to mitigate or reduce the further transmission of the virus. And because it was so serious, the residents, the population, they took it very seriously and started listening to the government saying, hey guys, we are shutting down, correct?
Exactly right.
And then what was the result of them actually going through the shutdown? What was the response? How did it work out?
The result has been a remarkable recovery. I mean, Italy has had very few cases since then. They really have regained control of the virus in that area. And while their initial response was not a model, their subsequent catch-up and mitigation has been a model for the rest of us to look at and go, wow, we can still do okay even if we failed at the initial step.
Now, let's talk about the countries that had a great response right from the beginning.
Yeah, so we kind of alluded to this. You could look at places like South Korea and Taiwan. South Korea is a great example where they learned the lesson of SARS, and they were scared, and so they invested in a very sophisticated public health system. They invested in technology and an early warning system. So as soon as cases in China began to look like they were going to...
No! You dummies! I just got in there.
And they used very sophisticated cell phone methods so they could determine everyone people had been in contact with and then immediately isolate them. They effectively implemented containment. The virus did not spread to its population. They were able to control it. They didn't have to do a economic lockdown.
I got this.
They could then bend the curve by targeted lockdown, only in hotspots. And they were able to control the virus without a national lockdown. New Zealand is another example of a country that did it right from the very beginning. Now, they have the advantage of being an island. It's easier to lock down. But they had also learned from SARS. They did a rapid rollout of testing, contact tracing, isolation. They made containment work. And that was so effective, they actually went 100 days without a case.
Wow.
Now, there have been new cases recently, but this is a really important point. As long as there's COVID-19 flaring in one part of the world, the rest of the world is still at risk for it to come back. Because New Zealand was so effective at containment, yeah, they've had a flare-up, but they can get back in control. And that's the key.
So this is what I've been trying to explain to people, which is that even if, let's take the U.S. for example. Even if one state is doing well, as long as there are other states that have high activity, the state that is doing well is still vulnerable to a flare-up because the virus is still active amongst people, and we've not shut down borders, and people are traveling from one state to another.
We are all kindling for the fire that is this virus. There's no pre-existing immunity to it, and as long as there remain a majority of the population that's never been infected by it, it can flare up at any time and in any place.
So it is really a false sense of security to think that because maybe you live in a rural area or a place that's not well populated, and because your area is doing well now, it's a false sense of security to think that things can't get worse.
Absolutely correct.
Now, there are still countries that are still badly struggling with the virus.
Absolutely. You know, Brazil is an example of a country that's sort of like the United States, that really didn't roll out a national containment plan. There was no early contact tracing or isolation. The national government really didn't take the virus seriously and left it to the local authorities to do what they were going to do. And so you ended up evolving into like 1,000 different little
Let's go
pandemics
to
and no coordinated central effort. And then even after containment failed, mitigation strategies, lockdown strategies were never implemented nationally. And so even if one area might be able to temporarily get control, it will just flare back up. And you end up playing this game of whack-a-mole. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here, and you can't get control of it.
Dr. Spellberg, you are an expert. What do you want to say to the country when it comes to trying to understand the lessons we can learn to help us finally get through this?
If we can now do what Italy did, and to some extent what New York was able to do, and implement such effective mitigation that we can get cases back under control nationally in a coordinated way. You cannot leave this to 1,000 different municipalities. It'll just flare back up. If we can get national coordinated mitigation done effectively, maybe we can get case volumes down low enough that we could reinstitute containment on the back end and get back in control of it, like Italy has done, like South Korea and New Zealand were effectively able to do.
Dr. Spellberg, before you go, I'm
Why
going
is
to
this
put you
thing so
on the spot. This is
broken?
$1 million question, maybe the $1 trillion question. Should we go into a national lockdown?
It's red for sure, guys.
I think the only way we're going
that
to do
thing.
this in a way that protects what people legitimately want. I mean, we do have to recognize that the economic harm of this virus does kill people. But it's a false dichotomy. The economic harm is caused by the virus. In countries that locked down initially, didn't suffer the substantial economic damage. We need to get back in control of this like Italy did. There needs to be a national coordinated effort to control this virus and mitigation so we can go back to containment.
And would shutdown do that?
We certainly would hope so, failing a vaccine. I mean, if a vaccine comes out and is highly protective, that's an alternative, but that's months and months away.
That's right. Well, Dr. Spellberg, this is so good, such great information. You broke it down. You showed us some examples around the country. Hopefully, some out there is listening and paying attention, and we can take some of these steps that we've learned from other countries. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, I'll have more for you right after the break. Coming up, let's talk about COVID-19. How is it affecting people's relationships?
Why was I not
6 months ago,
paying
what the couples
attention?
want? Well, we want more quality time together. And guess what? Now you have it.
In space. Then, hey guys, I'm about to do what most people are scared to do right now, which is flying during a pandemic. But I'm going to show you how to do it safe. I'm in the airport.
It's broken,
As
bro.
you can see, everyone is wearing a mask. He doesn't have his mask up over his mouth and nose, which is not a good thing. That's coming up.
1850 coffee. Inspired by the year the Folger Coffee Company began. With a bold yet smooth taste. 1850
Yeah,
coffee.
hold on a second.
Begin boldly.
Yes, hi. Wow, I held on for a long time. Okay, first of all, it's not really a complaint, but it is a concern. I live at 2299 Grange Lane in Oakville, and there was what you would call a lockbox that would be outside the laundry room. Are you following me? Okay. And it got broken into, so it's out, it's broken, somebody broke into it, and I presume to use the key to go into the laundry room. So I'm just kind of reporting that somebody broke into, which is called the master lock
Bob.
box,
Casual clothing and footwear.
and I presume it was the laundry room key, because when I went to go into the laundry room, there was one single key by itself fitting inside the keyhole.
Choose great taste.
And then I noticed, yeah, and then that's when I kind of looked and went, uh-oh, somebody leave the key. But then when I came out of the laundry room, I noticed that the mastercraft box that was supposed to hold, I believe, I can go through, because there are 2 people that come here on a daily basis to clean the laundry room.
Meet the new DQ loaded steaks, stacked with bacon, onion rings, and 2 premium sauces.
So I guess that's gonna wrap it up for that video. See you guys in the next one. Bye.